Floods and landslides in northern India, Pakistan, Nepal and Bangladesh have affected 41 million people, according to estimates from the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, which is participating in relief efforts. More than 1,000 people have died, hundreds of thousands of buildings have been destroyed, millions are displaced, waiting to return to villages. Others are cut off from food and clean water. The floods are already the worst in decades and the rain is expected to continue. Monsoon season typically lasts through September. That's the big story tonight. And well, just to give you a sense of how devastating the situation is across South Asia, we take a closer look at specifically the region of South Asia. We do know the situation is bad in Louisiana and Texas as well. In Bangladesh alone, 114 people have died over the past couple of days due to heavy flooding in various areas across the country. Not far away in India, more than 600 deaths have been reported ever since the monsoon season set in the country. It's been one of the worst monsoons the country has seen. 143 deaths have been reported in Nepal, again in South Asia. And well, if latest reports are to be believed, in Karachi, more than 1,000 people are affected and reports say 23 people have already died in heavy rains that continue over the last couple of hours. That's the overall picture. Not looking too good as far as South Asia is concerned. Tens of millions of South Asians halfway around the world are deep in monsoon season, which has also brought devastating rains, floods and landslides in these countries, affecting millions of people. According to UN estimates, 41 million people are affected. More than 1,200 have lost their lives. We start by taking a look at the situation in Bangladesh first. At its peak on the 11th of August, almost a week's worth of average monsoon rainfall was dumped across parts of Bangladesh in the space of one day, according to the country's Met Department. In fact, in Bangladesh alone, floods have so far claimed the lives of 142 people and impacted over 8.5 million others. In Beraberi, one of the numerous island villages there, entire homes have been washed away and crops and food supplies, including livestock, all but wiped out. When aid workers carrying relief parcels from the Red Cross arrived by choppers earlier this week, villagers described the rains as the worst in living memory. International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies has described the flooding in Bangladesh as the most serious in 4 decades. The organization estimates that 700,000 homes have been partially or totally destroyed and up to a third of its terrain left submerged, raising fears of a coming food shortage. Well, Bangladesh, let's point out, is no stranger to flood-related disasters. Much of the country is built on low-lying and flood-prone areas, making it particularly vulnerable to seasonal monsoon rains. In 2007, more than half of Bangladesh was seriously affected by deadly monsoon flooding, leading to over 1,000 deaths, the majority of them being children.
The floods have indeed taken a heavy toll in many parts of Bangladesh, particularly in the north and northeastern regions in the last couple of months. The incessant rainfall, particularly the heavy rainfall in the north and northeastern regions, have affected nearly 4,000 schools which have been either damaged as a result of this heavy rainfall and flooding or have shut down because the communication networks have been disrupted. What the authorities have told us is about 8,000 kilometers of roads across Bangladesh have been partly damaged and nearly 550 kilometers of these roads have been fully damaged, which would take quite a while to be for them to be brought back into service. The supply networks have been affected for the fast-moving consumer goods industry. Mind you, the Eid al-Azha is just a day away in Bangladesh, and that will also be taking a toll on the people living in the rural areas, particularly in the north and northeastern regions such as Dinajpur, Rangpur and these areas. So people, in terms of the casualties, have been less compared to the last few decades that we have seen. There have been about 27 deaths reported as a result of the waterborne diseases and the flooding that have taken place, which have drowned in, people in some cases. But what we figure is that the relief efforts and the distribution networks have been badly damaged as a result of this flooding. And the damages that have been caused in the households will take a while for them to be restored or compensated by the government. In Dhaka, this is Sadhamadi for Wion.
Well, from Bangladesh, we move on eastwards into India. More than 600 are dead. At least 32 million affected after floods have hit the states of Bihar, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, even West Bengal. In the latest being Mumbai, India's financial capital, has been affected with flooding. At least 7 people have been killed after a building collapsed downtown as flood waters seem to be receding in some places of Bihar. Many people have returned to their homes. Only 116 relief camps are functioning as of now, in which 1.38 lakh people are staying. The toll has climbed to over 500, while 1.71 crore people are affected in 19 districts in Assam. Over 1 lakh people are affected by floods in 4 districts in the state, as one more person died just recently, taking the toll up there to 74. The total number of people killed in this year's flood-related incidents in Assam is now 158. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has pledged to put together a relief fund of $78 million, though the cost of recovery is expected to be much higher.
While the flood situation may be improving in different parts of the country, but India's eastern state of West Bengal and northeastern state of Assam continues to reel under severe floods. In Assam alone, 1 lakh people continue to reel under floods, and the total death toll in the third wave of flood that lashed this year has reached 158 this year, and the districts worst affected are Nagaon, Moregaon, Golaghat, Karbi Anglong Island and several other districts. In West Bengal, the total death toll has crossed 150, and the northeastern districts like Kuch Bihar, Malda, Jalpaiguri, South Dinajpur and North Dinajpur continue to reel under severe floods. But it seems that flood has become an annual affair, but no lessons have been learned. In Kolkata with camera person Debashish Batabyal, this is Pooja Mehta for Wion.
We take a look from India to Nepal now, where over 100 people have died. Floods from heavy monsoon rains have killed 150 people approximately, damaged 65,000 homes, destroying 64,000 hectares of crops across the country. The Red Cross says it needs more than $3.5 million to help people in Nepal. Meanwhile, Australia is saying that it will chip in $2 million to help flood-ravaged Nepal. Aid workers are providing health education and running health camps to prevent the outbreak of disease. Well, that's the situation in Nepal, not far away. The latest to be affected by floods is Karachi in Pakistan. The rains there slowly moving northwest towards Pakistan, where more devastation is expected. Karachi being the latest major South Asian city to be hit by heavy monsoon rains amid a widening flood-related crisis engulfing much of the region. As we showed, at least 23 people, including 7 children, have been killed by flooding in the port city, large parts of which were underwater on Friday following prolonged period of rainfall that started Wednesday night. The heavy rain continued through Friday, and local media reported that many neighborhoods were flooded, with scores of cars and motorcycles underwater as bodies of animals floated through the streets. Figures released by the city's meteorological department show Karachi normally receives an average of 19.9 millimeters of rain in the month of September. But on Wednesday, northern parts of the city received 97 millimeters of rainfall. That's equivalent to 5 times the amount. Most of the flooding in Karachi has occurred in the city's predominantly industrial northern and western districts. The flooding comes as many in the city are preparing to celebrate Eid al-Adha, one of the holiest dates in the Muslim calendar. The holiday is typically one of Karachi's busiest periods as families come together to mark the day.
Basically, the monsoon season that has entered Pakistan, and from what we know, the Met Department here is saying that the rain has entered, the rain system has entered from the Indian side. From first, it caused some havoc in Mumbai, as we know, and then it came to Karachi. Now in Karachi, there have been flash floods because of this. Normally Karachi receives rainfall of around about 20 meters annually, but this time around, in some parts, there has been 100 millimeter of rain, and because of which many of the areas which are specific, especially those areas which are very sort of not properly constructed, the infrastructure is not well there, there's no proper sewerage system, those areas have been flooded. The army has been called in. From what we know, the army is right now doing the job of extracting the water from many of the areas. More than 20 people have been killed because of the fact that they were electrocuted by electricity wires falling down, the live wires that were falling down. So right now, as we speak, the Met Department is saying, which is the meteorological department, is saying that it is expecting further rain in the country. This very rain system will now move from Karachi onwards to Balochistan, and there the National Disaster Management Authority, the NDMA, is already putting in different measures to protect people and is asking people to stay indoors, which is very important. But given the very fact that it is Eid holidays here, so most of the people are out in the public, and because of which the danger is much more than it should be normally.